Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive, and today we're tackling Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the motivational speaker and author.
Oh, for sure. I'm excited for this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at one of his classic YouTube videos about the 10 signs you're on the path to success.
10 signs.
10 signs.
Okay.
Now, I got to be honest, I'm always a little bit skeptical about these success formulas, but Ron, he's got this really compelling way of presenting things.
Oh, yeah.
And one point that really stood out to me was his argument about how successful people leverage their weekends differently.
Oh, interesting. So it's not about just like grinding all the time.
Not exactly. It's more about being strategic with your time, which I think we all struggle with.
Yeah, for sure. Time management.
Yeah.
That's always a challenge.
Totally. And what's interesting is that Ron, he doesn't frame this as like workaholics versus those who relax.
Right.
It's more about recognizing that success leaves clues. And one of those clues is how you approach time when most people are off the clock.
I like that.
Yeah. And it actually ties in really well with his first principle, taking full responsibility.
Okay. So taking responsibility, even for your weekends.
Yeah. Basically, it's about owning your choices and actions and results regardless of external factors.
I can see how that could be powerful, but isn't that a little bit harsh?
Well, how do you mean?
I mean, life throws curveballs, right? Yeah. Things happen that are outside our control.
Right, but that's where this idea of taking responsibility comes in.
Okay.
Ron actually tells the story about his mentor, Mr. Schoaf, who basically told him to stop with the excuses.
Wow, tough love.
It wasn't about ignoring hardship, but rather recognizing that blaming external factors keeps you stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You're essentially giving away your power to change anything.
So it's more about mindset than circumstances.
Exactly. And Ron's own turning point was when he stopped saying, life did this to me, and started asking, okay, what can I do about it? And this becomes super crucial when we talk about his second principle, which is setting goals.
Goals, okay.
Now, are you a big goal setter?
I try to be.
Yeah.
I like the idea of writing things down.
Me too. I'm a huge believer in that.
Yeah.
But I'll confess, sometimes my goals, they stay in that notebook.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
They don't always translate into action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ron, he was adamant about written goals.
Okay.
But he also acknowledged that they're just the first step.
Right.
He talked about deadlines, breaking things down, and being flexible with the how while staying firm on the why.
The how and the why.
Right. So imagine it like a roadmap.
Okay.
Your destination is set.
Got it.
But traffic might force you to take detours.
Yes, sir.
The goal remains, but the strategy adapts.
That's a good analogy.
You're right.
Yeah.
Now, Ron also talks a lot about continuous learning and personal development.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's a big one.
I've always loved that quote of his. Formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune.
Right. It's a class. But honestly, with a busy life, how do you even find the time?
That's the million-dollar question.
It really is.
But, Ron wasn't just talking about, like, hitting the books, though he was a voracious reader.
Oh, for sure.
He believed that success is attracted to the person you become, not just what you do.
Right.
So it's about seeking out new ideas, challenging your thinking.
Okay.
Whether through mentors, seminars, or even just having tough conversations that make you reconsider your assumptions.
So it's not about fitting more in. It's about being intentional with the time you have.
Exactly.
And this ties in with his fourth principle.
Okay, what's that?
This might be his most quoted one. Self-discipline and productive habits.
Self-discipline and habits.
His point was you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits.
Ouch. That's a bit of a wake-up call.
It is.
I know I've got some habits that aren't exactly helping me reach my full potential.
Right. But Ron wasn't about beating yourself up, though.
Okay.
He used this analogy of a farmer planting in spring for a fall harvest.
Okay, like that.
It's about consistent effort over time, small actions compounding.
All right.
You don't just magically get a crop by wishing for it.
No, you got to put in the work.
Exactly. But let's be real, discipline is hard.
It is. It really is.
How do you stay motivated when you just don't feel like it?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is.
I think that's where Ron's fifth principle comes in. Maintaining a positive mindset.
Okay.
He was a big believer in choosing optimism even in the face of challenges.
Right. But isn't that a bit naive?
What do you mean?
Well, the world can be a pretty negative place.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
But Ron wasn't ignoring reality.
Oh, okay.
He even said, life is not fair, but it's still good.
I like that.
His point was that you can choose how you respond to situations.
Okay.
He tells this great story about two shoe salesmen.
Wait, is this the one where they're sent to this remote village?
Yes. One salesman sees no opportunity because nobody wears shoes.
Oh, right. I've heard this one.
The other one sees a huge market because nobody wears shoes.
Right.
Same situation, completely different mindset.
Okay, that's a pretty powerful illustration.
Right.
But how do you actually shift your mindset when you're surrounded by negativity?
Well, Ron believed it was a daily practice.
Okay.
He'd say things like, every day stand guard at the door of your mind.
So it's about awareness and conscious choice.
Exactly. You choose what thoughts you let in.
I see.
And this directly impacts his next principle, taking consistent action.
Okay. So action.
Yeah. It's the bridge between dreaming and doing.
Right.
I'm definitely guilty of overthinking sometimes.
Me too. Planning more than actually doing.
Yeah. Ron's view was you don't get in shape by reading about the gym. You got to go work out.
Right.
Consistent action, even when it's small, builds momentum.
I like that.
It ties back to the farming analogy.
Yeah.
You plant those seeds, you tend to them daily, and eventually you get the harvest.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like those small wins, they build confidence.
Yeah.
Which makes you want to keep going.
Exactly.
Mm.
And Ron understood that we don't do this in isolation.
Right.
He had this famous quote, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
This is his 7th principle. Surround yourself with positive people.
Surround yourself with positive people.
So think about it. Your closest friends, your colleagues,
Okay.
are they lifting you up or are they holding you back?
Oof. That's a tough question.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's an important one.
Yeah. I guess sometimes we get comfortable with people even if they're not necessarily good for us.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ron was all about seeking out mentors,
Right.
those who've achieved what you aspire to,
Yeah.
but also being that person for others,
Okay.
uplifting and encouraging.
So it's a two-way street.
Exactly.
Right.
Success is more enjoyable when you've got your squad cheering you on, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But even with the best support system, life throws curveballs.
it does.
That's where Ron's 8th principle comes in. Embracing change and adaptability.
Oh, embracing change.
Yeah. He had this great analogy of rowing a boat upstream.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
If you stop rowing, you drift backward.
That's true.
So change is inevitable.
Yeah.
The question is, are you going to fight it or use it to your advantage?
I like that. It's a good way to think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know I tend to resist change,
Yeah, me too. It's hard.
but maybe it's more about seeing it as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah, that's a much better perspective.
Okay, so we've got responsibility, goals, learning, discipline, mindset, action, support system, and adaptability. What's next on Ron's list?
Well, this one might surprise you. Providing value and serving others.
Serving others?
Yep. Ron believed that success is a byproduct of helping others. He'd often quote Zig Ziglar. You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want.
Okay, that's a powerful idea, but doesn't it contradict the whole individual achievement thing?
Well, not necessarily. Ron wasn't saying that success is only about others. He was saying when you focus on adding value, solving problems, regardless of your field, success tends to follow.
So it's about contribution, making a positive impact even in small ways.
Exactly. It shifts your perspective from what can I get to what can I give.
I see.
And ironically, that often leads to greater personal success as well.
That makes sense. And finally, we get to the principle we teased at the beginning, mastering the weekend.
Mastering the weekend. Okay, I'm all ears.
Now, I gotta admit, I'm intrigued by this one.
Me too.
Ron wasn't suggesting you work 7 days a week.
Okay, good.
He was challenging the idea of the weekend as total shutdown.
Interesting.
While others are resting, successful people are using that time strategically to get ahead.
Okay, so give me some examples. Like, what does that look like in practice?
Well, think about it. You could use the weekend to catch up on reading, attend a workshop, plan your week, work on a side hustle.
Right.
Even just get organized so Monday isn't so chaotic.
Because it's about using that time intentionally, not just letting it slip away.
Precisely. It's another example of taking responsibility,
Okay.
of seeing time as a resource to invest.
Right, not just something that happens to you.
Exactly.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
I know, right?
We've covered a lot of ground here, from taking responsibility and setting goals to embracing change and serving others.
It's a lot to digest.
It is. But that's the beauty of a deep dive, right?
Yeah.
We're not just skimming the surface. We're exploring the nuances, the connections, the real-world applications of Ron's principles.
And we've still got more to unpack.
We do.
So join us in part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into these concepts and explore how they can be applied to your life.
Looking forward to it.
See you there.
So welcome back to our deep dive into Jim Rohn.
I'm ready for more Ron.
10 Signs of Success.
Right. Yeah.
We're digging deeper now.
It's fascinating stuff. You know, it's funny how all these principles, they kind of build upon one another.
Oh, they totally do. It's like pieces of a puzzle.
Right. Forming this complete picture.
And, we've talked about goals, responsibility, even mastering the weekend.
Right.
But I think there's this one theme that really ties it all together.
What is that?
Personal development.
Ah, personal development.
That idea that success is drawn to the person you become, not just the things you accumulate.
Okay. Yeah.
But honestly, it's so easy to get caught up in the doing.
Right. The daily grind.
The daily grind. Yeah.
And forget about the becoming.
Exactly. So
Right.
where do you even start?
Right. Where do you even begin?
Well, remember Ron's quote about self-education making you a fortune?
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
It's a classic. He wasn't just talking about traditional schooling. He was a big believer in reading,
Sure.
but also mentors, seminars, anything that challenged your thinking.
I see.
One of his key points was that learning should be uncomfortable at times.
Makes sense. It's about stretching your mind, not just confirming what you already know.
Exactly. And I know I've had those aha moments
Yep.
when a book or a conversation completely shifted my perspective.
Totally. But I'll confess, sometimes I get overwhelmed by all the advice out there.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of noise.
It's information overload.
For sure.
Yeah.
So how do you know what to focus on?
Right. What should we prioritize?
Well, Ron believed self-development had to be tied to your goals.
Okay.
You'd say motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going.
I like that.
So, for example, if your goal is to become a better communicator,
Okay.
maybe you join a Toastmasters group.
Right.
Or if you want to be a better leader,
Okay.
you find a leadership program
Gotcha.
or a mentor who's already achieved what you aspire to.
So it's about aligning your personal development with what you're actually trying to achieve.
Exactly. And this is where discipline comes in.
Back to discipline.
Ron's famous quote, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits." That's a stark reminder
Oh, yeah.
that our daily actions matter more than grand intentions.
It's so true.
I know I have some habits that aren't exactly serving me well.
Same here. It's a constant work in progress.
But remember, Ron wasn't about self-flagellation.
Okay.
He used that farmer planting seeds analogy
Right. I like that one.
to emphasize consistent effort over time.
Right.
Discipline isn't about being perfect.
Okay.
It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it.
That's where mindset comes in, right?
And mindset is huge.
Ron was all about choosing optimism, even in the face of adversity.
Right. But how do you do that?
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by negativity, bad news, and people who seem to thrive on complaining?
Yeah, it's tough.
The conscious choice,
Okay.
a daily practice,
Right.
Ron would say, every day, stand guard at the door of your mind, meaning you decide what thoughts you let in.
So filter out the noise.
Exactly. It's like curating your mental diet.
Okay. I like that analogy.
You wouldn't eat junk food all day
Right.
and expect to feel amazing.
Right.
Same with thoughts.
So it's about filtering out the noise and focusing on what empowers you.
Exactly. And that empowers you to take action.
Okay, action again.
Remember, Ron believed that the major reason for lack of progress is lack of activity.
Right.
It's easy to get stuck in the planning stage,
For sure. I'm a champion planner.
but at some point, you have to get your hands dirty.
Right.
Plant those seeds and tend to them consistently.
I'm definitely guilty of overthinking sometimes.
Analysis paralysis.
It gets me every time.
Yeah.
But how do you know when it's time to stop planning and start doing?
Well, Ron would say, don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect.
That's good.
It's about taking that first step, even if it's imperfect,
Okay.
and learning as you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what if you take action and things don't go as planned?
Right. What if you fail?
Exactly.
Well, Ron believed that failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day.
Interesting.
He saw it as a part of the process.
Not the opposite of success.
Exactly.
Okay.
He had this great saying, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better.
I like that.
It's about developing the skills
Yep.
and the resilience to handle whatever comes your way.
So it's all about learning from those mistakes and adjusting your course.
Exactly. And this all ties back to surrounding yourself with positive people, right?
Right. The support system.
We talked about the importance of mentors,
Right.
but how do you actually find those people?
Yeah.
who are going to lift you up and support your growth.
That's the question.
Well, Ron believed it was a two-way street.
Okay, how so?
You have to be the kind of person others want to be around.
Makes sense.
He'd say, become a magnet for success by becoming someone others want to help.
Okay.
So it's about offering value,
Right.
being supportive,
Okay.
and actively seeking out those who inspire you.
I see. But what if you're in a field where there aren't any obvious mentors or role models?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Where do you turn?
Well, Ron believed mentorship could come from unexpected places.
Really? Like where?
He was a voracious reader,
Right.
and he'd say, books can be your mentors.
Ah, that's a good point.
You can learn from the experiences and wisdom of people who may be long gone
Sure.
or geographically distant.
That's so true.
I've definitely learned a lot from biographies and memoirs.
Me too. It's like having a conversation with someone who's already walked the path you're on.
Exactly. And remember, mentorship isn't just about receiving guidance.
Okay.
It's also about giving back.
Right. Paying it forward.
As you grow and develop, you can become a mentor to others,
Yeah.
sharing your knowledge and experience to help them succeed.
That's a beautiful idea. It's like creating a ripple effect of success.
Exactly.
Mm.
Now, all this talk about personal growth and mentorship,
Right.
it's fantastic,
Yeah.
but it can feel overwhelming
I know.
if you're already stretched thin.
Yeah. Where do you find the time?
And that's where Ron's principle of mastering the weekend comes in.
Oh, back to the weekend. Okay.
Remember we talked about using that time strategically?
Right. But I'm still a bit fuzzy on what that looks like in practice.
Okay, sure.
Sure.
So it's not about adding more work to your plate.
Oh.
It's about being intentional with how you use that time.
Okay.
Think about it. You could use the weekend to finally tackle that book you've been meaning to read.
Right.
Attend a workshop that sparks your interest.
Yeah.
Even just spend an hour planning your week so Monday isn't so chaotic.
So it's about aligning your weekend activities with your goals and personal development.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it's about creating space for rejuvenation.
Oh, give me one.
Rejuvenation. Whether that's spending time in nature,
Right.
connecting with loved ones,
Okay.
or simply taking some time for quiet reflection.
This reminds me of something we discussed earlier, the importance of self-care.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Ron believed that we can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He understood that success is not just about achieving external goals.
Right.
It's about creating a life that is sustainable
Okay.
and fulfilling in the long run.
Right. And that requires taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
Physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Whole package.
So mastering the weekend isn't just about getting ahead. It's about recharging so you can show up as your best self during the week.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Okay.
between productivity and rejuvenation,
Right.
between striving for our goals and nurturing our well-being.
Okay. So we've talked about personal development, discipline, mindset, action, mentorship, mastering the weekend, and self-care.
It's a lot. We've covered a lot.
It is a lot. Is there anything else we should be focusing on?
Well, one crucial element of Ron's philosophy
Okay.
is the importance of providing value and serving others.
Deferring others. Okay.
He believed that success is something you attract by the person you become.
Right.
And part of becoming that successful person is about developing a mindset of service,
Okay.
of making a positive impact on the world around you.
I love that idea, but it seems counterintuitive.
How so?
Shouldn't we be focusing on our own goals first?
Well, Ron believed that when you focus on adding value to other people's lives,
Okay.
success naturally follows. It's not about neglecting your own aspirations.
Okay.
It's about shifting your perspective
Okay.
from what can I get to what can I give.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where your passions, skills, and the needs of the world intersect.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be some grand gesture.
Right.
It could be as simple as volunteering your time,
Sure.
mentoring a colleague,
Yeah.
or even just being a supportive friend.
This reminds me of that Zig Ziglar quote Ron often used. You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want.
It's a powerful concept.
It is.
When you focus on helping others succeed,
Okay.
you create a positive ripple effect
Right.
that ultimately benefits everyone.
Including yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, this is making me rethink my whole approach to success.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It's not just about climbing the ladder. It's about building something bigger than myself.
And that's where Ron's principles really shine.
Right.
They're not just about achieving external goals.
Right.
They're about developing the character.
Mindset
Right.
and the heart
Right.
to make a positive impact on the world.
It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts success, not just because of what they achieve, but because of who they are. and how they contribute to the world.
Exactly. And that journey of personal growth and contribution,
Yeah.
that's where the real magic happens.
This has been incredibly insightful.
It has.
We've covered so much
From
ground.
personal development to taking action, the power of mindset, mentorship, serving others.
I feel like I have a whole new framework for thinking about success.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
In part 3, we'll explore some of Ron's lesser known,
Okay.
but equally powerful principles.
All right. I'm intrigued.
And we'll delve into some specific strategies for implementing these ideas into your daily life.
Okay. Sounds good. I can't wait. Join us for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll wrap up our exploration of Jim Rohn's 10 signs of success.
It's going to be good.
See you there. And we are back for the final part of our Jim Rohn deep dive. 10 signs of success. This has been quite a journey.
It really has. You know, we've uncovered so much already, but Ron's wisdom, it just keeps going.
It does. It's amazing how much he packed into his teachings.
Totally. And I'm excited to dig into some of his lesser known, but equally powerful principles today.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Now, one thing that really struck me was Ron's emphasis on embracing change.
Oh, embracing change. That's a big one.
It is. We touched on this earlier, but I want to explore it further.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you go from resisting change to actually seeing it as an opportunity?
Right. It's a tough one.
It is. You know, Ron had this great analogy
Okay.
about rowing a boat upstream.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
If you stop rowing, you inevitably drift backward.
Right. You're constantly fighting against the current.
Exactly. And change is like that current.
Okay.
It's constant.
Oh, okay.
So the question is, are you going to fight against it?
Right. Exhausting yourself in the process.
Or are you going to learn to navigate it?
That's such a powerful image. And I know I've definitely felt that exhaustion of trying to hold on to things as they were instead of adapting.
It's so draining.
Mm.
But how do you actually make that shift?
Right. How do you embrace change?
Well, Ron would say, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better.
Okay. I like that.
It's about developing the skills, the mindset, the resilience
Right.
to handle whatever comes your way.
So you're better equipped to deal with those curveballs.
Exactly. He believed that change often forces us to grow,
Okay.
to learn new things,
Okay.
to step outside our comfort zones.
So it's not a bad thing. It's an opportunity to evolve.
Exactly. And, you know, this ties into another principle he emphasized,
What's that?
continuous learning.
Continuous learning. Always be growing.
Right. Ron believed that learning shouldn't stop after you get that diploma.
Right. It's a lifelong pursuit.
Exactly. He was a voracious reader,
Oh, for sure.
but he also believed in learning from mentors,
Okay.
from experiences, even from failures.
He had that great quote, didn't he?
He did. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune.
So good. But with a busy life, how do you even find the time for self-education?
That's the age-old question, right?
It is. I struggle with that all the time.
You know, Ron believed you had to make the time.
Make the time. Okay.
He'd say time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time.
Mm. It's true when you think about it.
Right. So he was a big proponent of time management,
Okay.
prioritizing your tasks and eliminating distractions.
Easier said than done, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
But Ron wasn't about rigid schedules.
Okay.
He was about being intentional with your time.
I see.
He'd ask, what are you doing with the 24 hours you've been given today?
That's a good question to reflect on.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
He believed that successful people make time for the things that matter.
Okay, so it's about making those things a priority.
Exactly. Whether it's reading a book for 30 minutes, taking a course,
Right.
or even just having a conversation with someone who inspires them.
So aligning your time with your goals and values.
Exactly. And this leads to another powerful principle,
Yes.
taking consistent action.
Action, action, action. We've talked about this a lot.
We have. It's so important, though.
It is. You know, Ron believed that action is the bridge between dreaming and doing.
Right.
He'd say the major reason for lack of progress is lack of activity.
It's so easy to get caught up in the planning,
Oh, tell me about it. I love to plan.
analyzing, perfecting.
Yeah.
But at some point, you have to take that first step.
Okay. But what about that fear of failure?
Oh, the fear of making a mistake.
Hmm.
That holds so many people back.
It does. How do you overcome that?
You know, Ron had a great saying, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try.
I love that.
He saw failure not as the opposite of success,
Okay.
but as part of the journey.
So it's a learning opportunity.
Exactly. He believed that successful people are willing to take risks,
Okay.
make mistakes,
Yeah.
learn from their experiences,
Right.
and keep moving forward.
So it's about picking yourself up and trying again.
And this all ties back to the importance of mindset. What?
Oh, yeah. Back to mindset.
Rohn was a big believer in choosing optimism, even when things get tough.
Right. But how do you stay positive when everything seems to be going wrong?
Well, he'd say things like, you cannot control the events that happen to you, but you can control your attitude toward them.
Okay, so it's about focusing on what you can control.
Exactly. He believed that our mindset shapes our reality,
Interesting.
and that by choosing to focus on the positive,
Yeah.
on the opportunities, and on the solutions,
Right.
we create a more empowering and fulfilling life.
So much of what Ron talks about, it resonates on such a deep level.
It does. It's not just about achieving those external goals.
Right. It's about the internal work.
It's about cultivating those internal qualities,
Right.
the character, the resilience that allows you to thrive in the face of any challenge.
Okay. And speaking of internal qualities, Ron also talked about the importance of building strong relationships.
Oh yeah, relationships are huge.
He had that famous quote, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
It's so true. You know, he understood that our relationships have a profound impact on our lives.
Right. They shape who we are.
They shape our beliefs, our habits, and ultimately our level of success.
It's such a good reminder to be intentional about who we surround ourselves with.
It is. You know, Ron believed that successful people seek out mentors.
Okay.
They build supportive friendships.
Right.
And they surround themselves with people who inspire them to be their best selves.
It's about having that positive support system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he also emphasized the importance of being a good friend,
Okay.
a supportive colleague,
Right.
a positive influence on others.
So it's not just about taking, it's about giving as well.
It's about reciprocity.
Yeah.
You know, Ron believed that success is multiplied when it's shared,
I love that idea.
when we lift each other up and celebrate each other's wins.
It's about creating a community of support and encouragement.
He'd say, the more you care for the happiness of others, the greater shall be your own sense of well-being.
Okay, so we've got change, learning, action, mindset, relationships. Is there anything else we're missing?
One final principle that ties everything together.
Okay, what's that?
It's the importance of living a life of purpose and meaning.
Ah, purpose. That's a big one.
It is. You know, Ron believed that true success is not just about achieving external goals.
Okay.
It's about aligning our actions with our values
Right.
and about making a positive impact on the world around us.
So it's about living a life that feels meaningful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He believed that when we live a life of purpose,
Okay.
when we're passionate about what we do,
Right.
and when we're making a difference in the lives of others,
Okay.
success naturally follows.
This has been such an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've explored so many powerful principles.
And I hope you've gained some valuable insights from Jim Rohn's wisdom.
Me too. You know, I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for navigating the journey of success.
I'm so glad to hear that.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. Which of Ron's principles resonates most with you?
It's a good question to ponder.
And what's one small step you can take today to put that principle into action?
You know, success is a journey.
Not a destination.
And the most rewarding part is the growth and transformation you experience along the way.
Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep striving, keep learning, and keep growing.